Hey, welcome to Boozy Bookshelf, the podcast where I revisit my favorite childhood books with adult eyes and an impaired mind. My name is Ashley, and this week I'm joined once again by my lovely roommate, Crystal. We're reading chapters 22 through 24 of Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead. I read this book 10 years ago, but I never finished the series, and this is Crystal's first time reading. If you like this podcast, please leave us 5 stars. It really does help us out. Also, feel free to reach out on social media. We'd love to hear from you. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok by searching Boozy Bookshelf.
Savage.
Oh gosh. It has been a week since I finished this book, and I completely forgot what happened until I just reread the summary.
But I'm excited. A lot happened, and I was hooting and hollering all the way until the end.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. What'd you do this weekend?
I hung out with my boo thing and drank a lot of alcohol. That's about it.
Hell yeah. I read a book called It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover on Friday. And so naturally, I spent the rest of the weekend moping in despair. Oh God, I went in blind and I just thought it was a cute little love story. Okay, but anyway, I digress. That's not the right podcast for this. What are we drinking? What are we reading?
We are. You didn't tell me what we were drinking.
We're drinking Cabernet. I think the brand is called Homestead. I'm not sure.
And then we're reading chapters 22 to 24.
Well, chapter 22, Victor tells Lissa that her powers are the only way to cure his disease. Lissa tries to deny her abilities, and he tells her that Natalie saw her heal the raven years ago. He also has figured out that Lissa healed Rose in the car accident. She realizes that Victor and Natalie had been leaving the dead animals to see if Lissa could heal them. She asks Victor why he didn't just ask for her help, and he says that healing him will take a huge toll on her mentally and physically. He says that she will have to stay there with him and reveals that her healing power is called Spirit. Spirit is an elemental magic that has been forgotten with time. He tells her that using her power forces her to give up a part of herself and that it will eventually destroy her. Spirit gives her extra strength with compulsion and a strong urge to help and heal. Victor tells her that he is going to make Lissa heal him so that he can be king. He wants the Moroi to fight with the Dampiers and hunt down Strigoi instead of being victims. Lissa tells him that she isn't going to do it, and Victor gets another Moroi to torture her with air. Lissa is screaming, and Rose is screaming in the car. Dimitri is alarmed, and she explains what they're doing to Lissa. Dimitri speeds up as Rose sobs from the pain. Then back in Lissa's head, she agrees to heal Victor to stop the pain. Lissa grows weaker as Victor grows stronger. He immediately looks younger, and then Lissa passes out. The group arrives at the cabin, and Dimitri tells Rose to stay in the car, saying her name in Russian. She refuses, and Dimitri touches her chin and tells her that he and Lissa both need her to stay safe. Rose agrees, and he joins the rescue mission. Lissa wakes up and compels the guardian near her to let her escape. She sneaks out the window, and Rose swears. Then she is startled back into her own head when Christian asks what she sees. He snuck into the trunk of the rescue mission. Rose fills him in, and they decide to go after Lissa. Rose struggles to stay in her own head as she and Christian run through the woods. Rose has no issue running fast after Dimitri made her run laps every day, but Christian can't keep up and tells Rose to go ahead. Rose gets closer to Lissa and yells for her, but the only response she gets is a howl. She realizes that they are Psyhounds and that Victor had been the ones to send them in Chicago. She reaches Lissa and finds her backed against a tree, surrounded by the Psyhounds. Rose yells at them to get their attention. They turn on her and she tries to fight them off. She gets bit and scratched, but manages to knock one of them out with a tree branch. Christian finally catches up and Rose tells him to get out. He doesn't listen and tries to use fire against the hounds. One sneaks up behind him and takes him down. Alberta shows up and handles the remaining Psyhounds with a gun. Christian is seriously injured and clearly not going to survive. Lissa tries to heal him, but she's too weak. Rose lets Lissa drink her blood to regain some strength. More Moroi arrive as Lissa heals Christian, and Rose passes out. Rose wakes up in the clinic. She has to stay for 2 days, and Lissa stays by her side. They had to tell a few people about Lissa's spirit power, and everyone is shocked. They agree to keep it a secret from other students. Victor is being held until the royal guardians come to get him. No one really knows what to do with Natalie yet because she's a minor, but Rose does find out that she is behind the broken bench and dead animals. Rose and Lissa's friendship returns to normal, and Lissa breaks up with Aaron. She starts dating Christian, and no one at school can really process it. Dimitri hasn't visited Rose at all, and their practices have been suspended indefinitely. After a few days, Rose finally runs into him. Rose freezes and Dimitri starts to walk past her, but then he stops. He tells her that she should report what happened between them. He says that it was wrong and stupid. Rose is upset, but she tells him that it isn't a big deal. He says that she's a child and that he took advantage of her. He tells her that it was a mistake and it will never happen again. He says that he isn't interested in her, and Rose is humiliated and angry. Kurova drops Rose's house arrest, but now she doesn't want to leave her room. Later, she goes to visit Victor in the academy holding cells. He tells her that the physical and mental attraction between her and Dimitri was not caused by the charm, and that the spell wouldn't have worked if Dimitri didn't have feelings for her. He reveals that Natalie noticed their feelings for each other, and he also tells Rose that being shadow kissed means that she has crossed into death and returned. He says that she will always have a greater sense of life because of it. He confirms that the bond was created when Lissa brought her back from death. Rose hears some strange sounds and realizes that all the guardians are gone. Natalie enters and walks towards Rose. She launches Rose into a wall and unlocks Victor's cell. Rose realizes that Natalie has turned into a Strigoi. In chapter 24, Rose is trying to dodge Natalie's attacks. She has no weapons and knows that running is her best option, but she can't get past Natalie. Natalie slams her up against a wall again and she hits her head. Victor tells Natalie to try to not kill Rose because they can use her later. Natalie tells Rose that she changed to help her father escape so that he can help all of the Moroi. She throws Rose against the wall again, and Rose isn't able to get back up. Rose realizes that she has hesitated just like Dimitri had warned her about. Right on cue, Dimitri charges in. Dimitri and Natalie fight, and he stakes her, ending the battle and Natalie's life. He rushes to Rose and picks her up. He calls her Rosa again, and he tries to keep her conscious. His voice is frantic as he runs with her to the clinic. Rose asked Dimitri if Victor was right about the lust charm only being able to work if he already wanted her. Dimitri finally admits that he does want Rose and that he wishes they could be together. He tells her that when they're Lissa's guardians, he needs to focus on keeping Lissa safe. He says that if he lets himself love Rose, he would be focused on her safety instead of Lissa's. They reach the clinic, and Rose has a concussion and internal bleeding. Lissa heals her, but she has to stay in the clinic for another 2 days. She learns that Natalie had killed Mr. Nagy when she turned. Dimitri had found the body. Victor was captured before he could escape. Life at the academy returns to normal. Lissa stops cutting as her new medication makes her feel better. She has accepted that she doesn't need to become her brother to make her family proud. The school is shocked by Christian and Lissa's new relationship, but she doesn't mind. Mia becomes friends with some of the royals again. Rose realizes that Lissa and Christian are perfect for each other and are shaping each other into better people. Rose starts to consider dating Mason despite her heart wanting Dimitri. Dimitri treats Rose exactly as a mentor should treat a student, except for some occasional eye contact. Rose knows that he was right before and that they can't risk dating each other. Rose never told Lissa about what happened. Lissa isn't able to use her powers with her new medication. Lissa craves her magic but knows that she needs the pills. Rose realizes that Miss Carp had turned Strigoi to lose her magic and stay sane. She worries about Lissa but finds peace in Vladimir never succumbing to the insanity. Shadow kissed Anna helped to keep him sane, and Rose knows that she will do the same for Lissa. Rose sees the raven that Lissa healed years ago. Rose gets chills when she realizes that the bird is shadow kissed too. Rose holds out her arm, hoping for a movie moment with the bird, but it just flies away. She says it caws in the distance and almost sounds like it's laughing. Oh gosh, I really hate that last scene. It was so cringe.
I thought it was cute. It was cringe, but we would have thought it was cute back in the day. But let me just say, the last few chapters, I was sitting here freaking the hell out because I wound up being right about so many things.
Yeah, you were right about a lot. I was actually surprised. um, for chapter 22, I have a note that says we learned that Lissa actually has specialized in spirit. Your theory about spirit users giving up a part of themselves when they heal was correct. Victor has the right ideas politically, but the execution is a little fucking crazy.
The execution was insane. Like, we're gonna kidnap my niece, but this bitch is gonna kill herself saving me. Like, what?
He's got the right idea, but he's doing it very wrong.
As if nobody would notice that he randomly got better. Like, he was on his deathbed, and like in the book, you're gonna die from what he had, but then all of a sudden he comes back, he's strong, and Lissa's missing. Somebody would have picked up on that.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. Also, like, why didn't he just ask? Like, the only reason Lissa ever figured out that she was going crazy from using spirit is because Victor told her. He didn't have to tell her. He could have just been like, "Hey, Lissa, I know you can do this. I need you to heal me." And she never would have put two and two together.
I don't think she would have done it though, because after he explained it, she literally was like, I'm not going to give my life for yours. I mean, if, oh, wait, you just said if he didn't explain it.
Yeah, like if he just didn't explain anything to her and was just like, "I need help." I feel like she would have just done it.
I mean, Rose and her had a talk though. Like, she knew it was making her go crazy. They were already kind of piecing it together. I'm not sure she would have been down for that, because even right when he brought it up, she was like, "You're too sick. I can't do that." So I don't know.
Yeah. I did think it was cute when they're off on their rescue mission that Dimitri called her Rosa again when he told her to stay in the car while they rescue Lissa.
No, 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 no. Let's talk about Christian being a stowaway. I love that. The fact that he just popped up, and then Rose knew right away. She was like, "All right, I guess we're both going for it."
Yeah, my first note for chapter 23 literally says I also thought it was cute that Christian stowed away for the rescue. Um, my next note says more Psyhound content. We got some Psyhounds in this scene. Victor was the one that sent the Psyhounds in Chicago. Why is Victor the wielder of the Psyhounds? And how did he tame them? Where did he get them? Why do they listen to him?
Man, I don't know. I don't. Did you ever watch Supernatural?
I watched like 2 seasons.
So they had like these demon dogs, and the Psyhounds kind of remind me of that. I don't remember how they were trained or whatever, but
The way that I understood the Psyhounds from this book was that they are just like a pack of dogs that can communicate telepathically and they're like really good at hunting and that Victor somehow tamed them and they like listen to him.
what if they're Strigoi wolves? She said their eyes were like burning fire.
Maybe. I don't know. I hope that we get some more Psyhound lore at some point. Christian gets knocked out again trying to protect Alyssa. Rose needs to teach that boy how to fight. And also, why didn't he just set them all on fire immediately?
I feel like homeboy froze. I have no idea. Like, why would you grab a branch knowing you have the power of hell inside you? Like, you can literally burn down the whole forest, but you're gonna grab a stick. Like, talk about looking like a pussy in front of your lady.
Just because Rose has a stick doesn't mean that you need a stick, Christian. um, Lissa heals Christian. Do you think that he's Shadow Kiss now?
I mean, if he was on the verge of death, yes, but from my understanding, he wasn't. But the Raven and Rose are only shadow kissed because they were brought back from the other side.
Yeah, I think that if I'm understanding correctly, Christian was about to die, but Lissa healed him before he died, so he would not be Shadow Kissed. And Rose and the Raven had already died, and they were brought back.
Yeah, I feel like we'll get that answer maybe in the next book.
My next note says justice for Christian Ozera has been achieved. They're finally together.
I was so happy when I read that. I was rooting for them. And I think it's kind of shitty that a lot of the royals are actually like shit talking her for it. But then I really liked how Rose thought about it as the Ozeras were the Ozeras were once a very well known, respectable family and royal until they became Strigoi. So Christian's name was kind of shit on, and then Lissa's name was shit on when Tatiana shit on her name in front of everybody. And I just think it's kind of cute how Rose was like, but they're slowly building each other back up. Lissa's helping him become more poised and like proper, and he is helping her become more of herself. And I just think it's really cool that some of the royals just like them because they like Lissa for herself. I don't know. I just really liked. I love them.
Yeah, I really like the way that Richelle Mead wrapped up Lissa and Christian's story within this book. I feel like eventually they're gonna have to have some sort of conflict, but for right now, in my head, they're just a perfect couple, and I'm very happy for them. But who is not a perfect couple is Dimitri and Rose. Dimitri obviously feels very bad about what happened. He probably thinks that he took advantage of her and thinks that he deserves punishment. And he probably just feels absolutely terrible.
Bitch was right again. I called it. I called that, and I also called the fact that he also feels bad because he wants her to have a normal teenage life. He wants her to be able to go date boys, go to dances, go to the mall. And oh my god, when he said, I'm afraid to love you, or I don't want to let myself love you because I would need to be able to throw myself in front of Lissa, but then I would actually throw myself in front of you. That made my heart flutter.
Yeah, that gave me a little butterfly too. I loved that line. He was like, if I let myself love you, I wouldn't be able to throw myself in front of Lissa. I'd throw myself in front of you. Can you imagine a man saying that to you?
In a sexy Russian accent. Fuck no.
Yeah. I want to know why Victor knows so much about spirit. Like, how is he getting this information if it's magic that was forgotten long before his life even started? Like, where is he getting this information? I understand, like, he's probably researching because he's sick and he's trying to find a cure for his disease. But, like, if the magic was forgotten and Rose couldn't find any information on it, how is Victor getting this
I
information?
mean, he's a very rich man. Like you said, he's sick. He would go to the end of the earth because he truly thinks he's doing what's best for his people. So he would, in my mind, he would clearly be able to figure something out on his own because of that sense of desperation he's feeling and the endless amounts of money and resources he has.
Yeah, but, like, why is he so fucking crazy? Why did he get his daughter to turn into a Strigoi? Also, Natalie's a Strigoi.
Man, I feel like I saw that coming. I didn't see it coming for the reasons that it happened. But fuck that bitch. I've been saying fuck Natalie from the get go. Fuck you and fuck your whole family, Natalie. I'm glad you're dead.
Rose meets her first Strigoi when she finds Natalie has become a Strigoi, and she has no weapons to defend herself. And also, her first Strigoi is someone that she would have called a friend. So, the foreshadowing that we discussed before when they're in the car on the way home from the mall and they're talking about not hesitating and if I were to become Mr. Goy, I would want somebody to kill me. Is this what the foreshadowing was for? Or do you think that there's going to be another instance where somebody that we care more about will become Strigoi? Because I think that somebody we care about a lot is going to be Strigoi.
Yeah, no, this definitely is not that story arc. I think this is just gonna be an important role later because now Rose will remember this and realize that she can't hesitate. I feel like this in itself is a little bit of foreshadowing because afterwards she was like, shit, I hesitated. And then Dimitri came and saved the day.
Big Daddy Duster saves the day once again. Dimitri comes charging in like death in a cowboy duster.
I love the personification in this book.
Big Daddy Duster comes in, kills Natalie, saves the day, takes off running with Rose in his arms, confesses his love, and they don't live happily ever after. Mia, do you think Mia's gonna have a revenge story in Frostbite?
I mean, I just don't really see how she could though. Like all she can do is like petty teenager shit. She's not a royal. There's nothing really special about her other than being extremely beautiful and a massive asshole. But I feel like she's not going to play as big of a role in this next book.
Yeah, I feel like Mia's gonna try to have some sort of revenge thing, and then something else is gonna happen that's gonna completely overshadow it, and it's just never gonna happen. I don't know. That's just my feelings. Also, Rose is considering dating Mason, and I fucking knew it. They're gonna date, and they're gonna be a little bit in love.
But she also said she would feel bad because of her love for Dimitri.
Yeah, well, um, I don't know. I don't know. That could change. A lot of things can change in 6 books.
How did it make you feel when we found out that Miss Carp turned herself into a Strigoi because she couldn't escape the madness? And then we find out Anna kept Vladimir sane, and Rose does the same for Lissa. Do you think this will come into play in the next book? In one of these chapters, Lissa had to feed off a Rose to be able to save Christian. Do you think she'd be able to do that if she fed off a normal person?
Yeah, I feel like the blood would make Lissa stronger no matter who it comes from, but I do think that there's going to be some link between her and Rose that is what makes her stronger, like mentally. Like, I don't know if it's like drinking her blood or what. if there's some sort of magic that Lissa can do with spirit to like heal herself, heal her mind, maybe.
Or do you think because there's a bond, do you think maybe the fact that Rose is able to feel what Lissa does over time, she'll be able to like take on half of whatever she's feeling?
Yeah, maybe she can like suck the pain out of Lissa and then maybe Lissa can heal Rose.
I'm really interested to see where this story arc's gonna go.
Yeah, me too. I'm pretty excited about that plot. Why do you think that Rose never told Lissa about what happened with Dimitri? Is she trying to protect Dimitri's reputation, or is she worried that Lissa would be concerned about their ability to protect her in the future?
I don't think it's the second one at all. Lissa knows Rose would do literally anything for her. And I don't really think it was about the fact that she doesn't want Dimitri to get in trouble. I almost kind of feel like it's because she was embarrassed because of the age. I just feel like she's kind of ashamed, the age gap, everything. Then she'd have to explain the charm. And then at one point, she thought she was just like trash. She was like, I'm not into you. And then it kind of broke her heart. I don't think there's really deeper meaning to that. I just think there was no reason to tell Lissa because they were fighting before all this happened. And I mean, Lissa's enjoying her life right now. Why bring her down?
Yeah, I agree. I think that she probably at first was not telling Lissa anything because she was already worried about Lissa's mental health, and now Lissa is having a good time with Christian, so she doesn't want to put any stress in her life where there isn't any. Do you think that Lissa's going to stay on her medication, or will she stop taking it to use her powers again? I think she's absolutely going to stop taking it.
Rose did say that she could tell Lissa's powers were a little bit dampened by the medication, but their bond wasn't hurt. So I'm kind of wondering if in the next book they find out Rose is able to help Lissa not go mad, if using her magic more, like learning how to control it, learning more about it, the meds won't matter. I'm hoping that maybe she will get off of them, but I'm really hoping that they find a healthy system where Rose is able to help Lissa while she's on the meds. And I think those two things together would definitely keep her from going crazy.
Do you think that that raven at the end of the books, do you think we're going to see that raven again?
For sure, I do. I mean, like I said before, I don't think it's going to be a big plot point, but we come full circle and realize that Shadow Kiss really does mean brought back from the other side. And I don't think they would leave the book with the Raven if it was going to come back in the next book.
That's all the questions that I have for these sections. Do you have any questions before I jump into my final questions pertaining to the whole book?
What do you think Victor's next plan is? They said when he was recaptured and being toted away that he had a smile on his face like there was a secret nobody knew about.
Oh, he's definitely going to try to escape again. I don't know how, but he's going to escape at some point.
I don't know. I almost kind of feel like he's not going to be the main antagonist in the next book.
I don't think so either, but I mean, there's 6 books in the series. I feel like he's going to come back at some point. And I feel like he's going to come back into the picture when they conveniently need help with spirit. And Victor's like the only person that knows the answer to something.
Do you think, okay, so when Miss Carp was taken away, they said it was by guardians. Here's what I'm struggling with. So if she was taken away by guardians, which were probably Victor's men, it's not like, do you, man, how am I going to word this? So she turned herself into a Strigoi to escape the madness. If she was toted away by the guardians, when would she have made that decision? Do you think do you think Victor had him heal her for a while and then she went crazy and became a Strigoi, or like what do you think actually went down?
So, from what I understand, Victor's guardians came and got her and took her the same way that they took Lissa to try to force her to heal him. But then she killed the guardian and turned into a Strigoi and then was able to escape because she was Strigoi and she was stronger than them.
Do you think Miss Carp will show up again? Do you think that she will come back in the next book despite being a Strigoi but somehow be a good Strigoi because she had that power before? Or what? I just she's gonna come back. She's gonna come back. I know she is. They never said she was actually dead. They kept like leading on to the fact that Miss Carp is probably still a thing.
No, Miss Carp is definitely coming back. I don't think she's going to be a good Strigoi. If anything, I think that she's going to be a villain in one of the books. Um, I I do remember in that same scene in the car on the way to the mall, however many chapters ago, they mention Mikhail and Sonia. and how Mikhail had chased Sonia to try to kill her when she turned Strigoi. So I feel like Mikhail is going to come into the picture at some point. And then something, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think that Miss Carp is going to be a villain in one of these
Do you
books.
think that's the hesitation we're thinking about?
No, I don't think that Rose would hesitate with Miss Carp. I mean, Sonia, Carp, and Mikhail were lovers, and he chased her down to kill her. And so that tells me that Rose is going to have to kill someone that she loves, like really loves. So that's why I keep telling you my theory is that Mason is going to turn into a Strigoi.
Actually, after this book ended, I am 100% behind that theory. I am 10 out of 10 behind that theory. They're going to date in the next book, and I see one of the main plots being he's gone. He's a goner. He's not going to be in the third book.
No, absolutely not. Well, see, I think that they're going to start dating in the second book, and then in like the third book, he's going to get turned into a Strigoi, and then like the fourth book, Dimitri has to help Rose go kill him, and then that's when they like get together is when they're on this hunt to kill Mason. That's my theory right now.
I hope we get a hot and steamy scene next book with Rose and Dimitri because she'll be 18. He did say one of the things that made my heart kind of hurt in these chapters was he said 10 years from now that won't be a big deal. So like what if we never get our Dimitri Rose moment, but in the last book there's like an epilogue 10 years later?
God, yeah, I could actually really see that happening. I feel like we're never going to get like a happy Dimitri and Rose. Like out of all these books, I just don't see it happening until the very end because there's too much against them.
I think we'll have very sweet and endearing moments, and I think we'll also have very heartbreaking moments between them. But at this point, I'm not even sure they'll get their happily ever after. Like you said, until the last book, if ever. There's too much against them. Both of them care about Lissa immensely, and unless something happens to where neither of them, or one of them at least, doesn't have to protect Lissa, I mean, that would be the only way. And even then, though, Dimitri is such a man of he really likes protecting people. He takes being a guardian very seriously. He finds purpose in it, and I don't really see him leaving that life.
I just had an idea. So, what if the person that they have to kill that's a Strigoi becomes Lissa?
That thought has crossed my mind. I do almost wholeheartedly believe that Lissa will become a Strigoi, but that piggybacks off of my theory that I don't think every Strigoi is bad. And I don't see Lissa dying in this series unless it's like at the very end.
Okay, so the other day I tweeted and I said, tell me what book made you cry harder than any other book. And I was just talking about books in general. And I'm pretty sure it was one of you guys, one of these listeners, that commented Last Sacrifice from this series, last book in the series. So I'm thinking if that book is so sad, somebody really important has to die. And for them to be really important, I would think it's a character that we've already met that's already very close to Rose. So I'm thinking either Christian dies, Alyssa dies, Dimitri dies, Rose dies. Somebody important is going to die.
I just got goosebumps when you said Rose dies, which usually means maybe she'd oh my god, no, what if Dimitri has to kill Rose while they're protecting Lissa? Maybe that
Like it like switches perspective for the last chapter of the last book, and it's Lissa's perspective of Dimitri killing Rose because Rose gets turned into a Strigoi or something and tries to kill Lissa.
or like the last scene in the book is Alyssa trying not Lissa, Rose trying to kill Lissa and then he kills her and that's the way the book ends.
Just by Dimitri killing. Oh my god. Oh, I just got chills. Okay. I like this game.
me me too, me too.
Okay. Well, now that we have finished this book, what did you think about the book as a whole?
I actually really loved it. This book kind of reintroduced me to my love of books. I'm not sure what made that die off, but I'm very excited. It was not boring at all, actually. Most of the time I get halfway through a book and I'm like, "Oh, fuck this shit." But Richelle Mead did a very good job at keeping me on my toes. I mean, I was able to guess a lot from the get-go, but as things went on, I was like, maybe those aren't really plausible, but I like it, and it's only going to get better because from what I've heard from you and everybody else, apparently this is the worst of them all, but this is still a really good book.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed reading it. At times the writing was a little juvenile, which is nothing against Richelle Mead. This is a book meant for 14-year-olds, so you should expect it to be a little juvenile. Overall I did like the book. It was a little slow paced at some points. I did not like how basically nothing happened the first 19 chapters and then like everything happened the last 5 chapters. And I feel like the scene with Natalie becoming a Strigoi was very rushed. It only lasted like 2 pages, if that. Um,
I'm I'm going to interrupt right there. I'm sorry. It really annoyed me. That fight scene was so hurried, so rushed. I feel like that could have been a chapter in itself almost.
yeah.
I mean, I was happy with the way Dimitri burst in and everything, but like, no, oh, I don't, I didn't like it
I feel
either.
like we could have had a lot more development for Rose's character in that scene if it had been given the time and if it had lived up to its potential. It had a lot of potential. Rose having to fight her best friend's cousin, Rose having to fight someone she calls a friend. That scene in and of itself could have been the climax of the book. And honestly, it would have been a better climax of the book than the one that we actually got.
Well, the one we actually got to was very short lived as well. Like, that was a chapter and a half. I hope in the next book it's more. I don't want it to be long and drawn out, but I want more.
I want more things to happen in the first half of the book and less things to happen in the last 2 chapters. Like I understand that the climax has to be at the end and then it's got like a pretty fast wind down afterwards, but like I don't know. It is the first book of the series. I do think that this book could stand alone if Richelle Mead had just decided to stop writing after this book. I think it would have been okay. I'm excited to read the rest of the books and I'm glad she continued, but I think that this book does stand alone just fine on its own. Which I'm pretty sure that that's why I never finished the series when I read it in high school. I'm pretty sure that it was because I was just satisfied when I finished this book.
I would have been on my knees begging to the gods for another book. I really love this book, actually. It's the first book I've bought in probably like 10 years.
Is this a better love story than Twilight?
Oh, by far. By far. Twilight, okay, no, here's the thing. The books, the Twilight books. I haven't read them in a long time. I really loved the books. The movies were great at the time, but now now when I watch them, I'm just kind of like, "Oh, but I still love them. I still love them."
Should we read Twilight next?
I think we'll have the hang of this enough to read them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I actually reread Twilight like 2 years ago when Midnight Sun came out. I read the Midnight Sun book and then I read New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn to just kind of wrap it up in my brain because like my OCD won't let me not finish a series now for some reason. And they were pretty good. My biggest issue with those books was actually resolved in Midnight Sun, so it could be fun to talk about them. So we'll keep that on the back burner for when we finish these other 12 books that are in front of it.
Or we could just do Midnight Sun. I've never read that.
Okay, but anyway, what are your predictions for the rest of the series? No, we talked a little bit about Miss Carp coming back and Mason becoming Strigoi, possibly having to kill Rose or Dimitri or Lissa or Christian or something. Do you have any other theories that we haven't talked about yet?
I really don't right now. I mean, with how this book went, there's so many things I was so wrong about. Like I've said what everything I've said is all I think right now.
I think Mia's going to die and I'm not going to care. And I think Christian and Lissa are going to get married and make babies.
What happens if you have sex with a Strigoi? Do you think you can get pregnant by a Strigoi?
That's a really good question. I'd like a Strigoi sex scene, I think.
I think it'd be kinky and fun.
Still want to know if the Strigoi also have endorphins when they bite or if it's only the Moroi.
Yeah, I know I said I didn't think so last time, but I feel like I mean they're I mean in almost all the vampire books be okay, I guess that's a fib. In Twilight it burned. Um I don't know. I mean now that we've heard more about it, I guess, I don't really think it'd feel that good. Like they kill for a reason.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. I'm gonna read the back of Frostbite to you. Okay, I wasn't going to do this. I accidentally read the back of Frostbook. By accidentally, I mean I did it on purpose, but I wasn't expecting it to give so much away. Because usually, like, the summary of the book is like, oh, Rose is sad because Dimitri doesn't love her, and that's like all it'll say. But I feel like this actually gives away a lot, so I'm gonna read it to you so that we're on an even playing ground, and I'm gonna get your reaction. Okay, so the back of Frostbite says, when love and jealousy collide on the slopes, winter break turns deadly. It says, Rose Hathaway's got serious guy trouble. Her gorgeous tutor Dimitri has his eye on someone else. Her friend Mason has a huge crush on her, and she keeps getting stuck in her best friend Lissa's head while she's making out with her boyfriend Christian. Then a massive Strigoi attack puts St. Vladimir's on high alert, and the Academy crawls with guardians, including the legendary Janine Hathaway, Rose's formidable, long absent mother. The Strigoi are closing in, and the Academy is not taking any risks. This year, St. Vlad's holiday ski trip is mandatory, but the glittering winter landscape and the posh Idaho resort only provide the illusion of safety. When three students run away to strike back against the deadly Strigoi, Rose must join forces with Christian to rescue them. Only this time, Rose and her heart are in more danger than she ever could have imagined.
Oh my Christ. I was sitting here like my mouth was gaping open. Oh my god, my book doesn't get here until Thursday. Victor's probably behind the Strigoi attack, I feel like.
I don't think that the Strigoi like work for the Moroi. I think that the Strigoi are probably like a separate enemy.
I want to know who the fuck this bit. What if it's Rose's mom? What if Dimitri has the hots for Rose's mom?
Oh my god, that actually would make sense because remember the scene when he was bandaging her hands and he was like, your mother is a very respectable woman.
Yeah.
Fuck. Dimitri's gonna get a girlfriend.
Okay, well, here's a theory. What if Mason and Rose start hanging out and seem like they're dating? Or maybe Dimitri just does that to further encourage Rose to live her own. I don't see the way he felt for her. I don't see him actually moving on. I see it coming back and being a big thing where he was like, I just wanted you to live your life. You weren't going to do that if you thought there was a chance with me.
I feel like Dimitri would start dating somebody to get himself over Rose.
Essentially, yes.
Um, a bunch of people are about to start dying.
Not ready. I already know us, and I know we're going to be crying. So.
Gosh. Any other theories, thoughts, predictions after this? Let's read. There's a couple of reviews on the back of this book. It says, unique and mesmerizing, this little gem is sure to be a hit. Readers will bite on this series for some time to come. Book list says it's absorbing, and SLJ says truly engaging.
Every time I walked by your desk today, I looked at it and I wanted to vomit.
Look at how fucking stupid the cover is.
Yeah, but there's more that meets the eye for that one, I feel like.
I should not have read the back of this. I wish that I didn't know that Dimitri is going to date somebody. Okay. I really hope that this book doesn't do the thing that sequels do where it tells you everything that happened in the first book in the first chapter. I hope that it like jumps right into it cuz most sequels will kind of throw in information that you already know, which I understand that they have to in case somebody picks up the second book of a series and doesn't know it's the second book of a series. But I don't know. Just like with Harry Potter, there's what, 7 books in that series, and every single one of them recounts all the other. Like the 7th book is recounting information from the first book. Who picks up the 7th book in a series? I don't know. I hope that they all don't do that. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, so far from what we've seen, I feel like Richelle Mead would like throw in things here and there, like Rose is in the middle of sucking Mace's dick, and then she's gonna be like, I remember that time I was in Dimitri's bed.
Do you think Rose is going to lose her virginity to Mason?
For sure. I see that happening for sure, and I see her kind of thinking about Dimitri the whole time. Shut the damn book!
This page is literally explaining what Moroi are. It's one of those.
It's one of those. But shut the damn book, lock it away.
We also need to watch the movie. I've heard terrible things about the movie, but I was looking it up on Rotten Tomatoes the other day. It has a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. It got nominated for a Kids' Choice Award as Choice Comedy.
I hope they do better with this series. My God, I would have been so pissed if I read this book back then and loved it as much as I do now. And then that movie came out. Do you know how upset I would have been?
I sent you a TikTok the other day that was like a montage from the movie. It honestly didn't look bad.
I didn't watch that because I didn't want to be pissed off.
I don't know. I feel like if I go into it putting this book out of my head and come into it as its own thing, I might think it's a little funny. But I don't know. Why is it a comedy?
Probably really cheesy. I don't know.
Like, was it supposed to be a comedy or did it just become a comedy?
There is no way in hell this was made as a comedy. There is no. Your cat is so cute. There is no way in fucking hell this was made as a comedy. It sounds like something went horribly, horribly wrong, and that was the only way to redeem themselves.
Yeah. Do you have any other things to talk about in regards to this book? This is the last time we talk about this book before we move on. Do you have any other thoughts, feelings, emotions?
Fuck Victor. Fuck Natalie. I'm glad she's dead. I love Christian. I love Mason. Dimitri and Rose. Dimitri alone. I'm happy Natalie's dead. I just said that. But other than that, I don't really have anything. I mean, at the end of the book, I still like Rose more than Lissa. So
Yeah, I think I am out of talking points with this book. We'll see you guys next week. We'll see y'all next week with the first section of Frostbite. And I think I'm going to upload like a special movie review episode on Thursday this week. That's just going to be us talking about the movie. That way it's like a bonus thing. Maybe it'll be shorter since it's probably going to be a bad movie.
watch us somehow wind up loving it. Like, watch us get like the next episode you guys hear. I'm calling it now. We're gonna be like, oh my god.
Do like the cringy stuff. I'm not going to lie. We might like it. Who knows?
K-Dog signing out.